Oop, not me starting it with no light. I'm screaming. Hi, guys. So I decided to continue getting through my new moon and full moon videos just because I don't get to work with much time, and c'est la vie, seize the day, work with the time that you do have. So although I am feeling a little tired, and I guess today you will experience a little bit of what projector tiredness might look like, as I'm a 3/5 self-projected projector, feel free to enjoy this video. I'll be talking about the new moon in Capricorn, and the transit happened, oh Lord, I don't even think I wrote the date at the time I wrote this out. One second. I'm gonna check back to my Instagram post. Perfect. So on January 13th, 2024, we had the new moon in Capricorn. So this video is going back to that transit and that time as I write these posts for my Instagram, and then I basically take the post and I turn it into video form to give you guys a little more of my personal feedback. Also talked more deep into the human sign gates and transits, as well as just more reflections on what's going on in society, trends, etc., that are happening at the time of the full moon and new moons. So with this particular new moon in Capricorn, let me go back to my notes. I use this as an opportunity because at this time I was very much, of course, it's the beginning of the new year. We're kind of the planetary new year, because now we're moving into the astrological new year. But it was beginning of a new year, and I'm just like, okay, I want to be on my biohacking, also using technology to the best of its ability. How can I basically you do this by using social media to my advantage? So I was able to compile some TikToks, which I'm just going to put below, but here are some of the themes of the TikToks that I compiled. One video is by Sam. She's a manifestation coach that is on TikTok. You've probably also come across her on your Instagram page, but she had a TikTok that talks about time and energy, and I'm going to link that below because it was great. Next, there was another TikTok I saw about letting people earn you, and this is how we can really utilize our time better, as a major theme for Capricorn season is time. And I'm saying Capricorn season, if you're tuning in, this video is for the previous new moon in Capricorn. I'm recapping on the transit that happened January 13th. So another thing when it comes to letting people earn you, a great reminder of practicing discernment is giving people time who show you who they are. And a part of that is it takes intimacy and vulnerability. So if over time someone is not being intimate or vulnerable with you and you have been pouring into them, you have now taken time away from pouring into you, or pouring into community that will be more transparent or open with you. So, more TikToks. Another TikTok is about trusting talent over opinion. Sometimes we are really quick to like something because someone is highly talented, but it's not necessarily would have been as big or popular maybe if they weren't as known. Sorry, not highly talented, just because it's a mass opinion. But it's not that we should do that, because obviously, like, someone can be liked by a lot of people, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily talented or a good person. And we're seeing more and more of that in society coming to light, that there are a lot of people who had big platforms, who are celebrities, who are known, and we're coming to find out because of their status, their wealth, a lot went undercover because people just vouched for them, or it kind of was hidden because no one was actually speaking out against it until now. Next is knowing when to walk away. So as we approach the astrological new year, maybe there's a situation or person you have not walked away from that you need to, and the universe is like giving you another opportunity to do so as we approach the astrological new year. So think about what you might need to walk away from. It can be a habit as well. I'm also really, really big on compassion. So sometimes walking away doesn't have to be with this energy of I hate you or you're a horrible person. Like now you're like devaluing the person or their character. Sometimes it can, oh, I'll tell you, sometimes you can walk away just because you're like, this doesn't serve me, and it actually probably serves them to be around people who want to, you know? So what is this about? This video is covering the new moon in Capricorn that transited on January 13th. I make IG posts at the time of the new moon and full moon, and I wasn't able to record my videos for it. So this video is a recording for that transit, and it's a great way for people to look back as well as look forward if they want to connect to the energy, but also think about how it can help them in their self-development or improvement. So I hope that helps, Dalton. And perfect. So the other TikTok I have is going backward to go forward. So there are people who may need to look back at a previous transit. This video is about the new moon in Capricorn that happened on January 13th. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I am basically covering a transit that passed that people can look forward to, in the sense of, as we know, time and space are constructs, so you can always get information from the past that you find relevance in the future. Thank you, Hayden. Okay, so then, yes, the video is about going backward to go forward, manifestation and healing the inner child. Going back to who you were as a child sometimes can even help us propel forward. And when we talk about propelling forward, we're talking about timeline jumping, being able to collapse timelines. Like right now, you guys are literally in real time watching me collapse a timeline. I would make these videos, or I wouldn't be able to get my videos out because, oh, I'm happy, great. I would be able to get these videos out because I knew I needed to record the video, edit the video, then make a thumbnail for it. And now I've collapsed the timeline and time because I'm now connecting to people as I'm making the video. So it collapses the time between making the video and connecting to people, right? So by doing that, it's like it helps propel me forward. So if you're a creator watching this, I hope you really were paying attention to what I said and maybe do the same. And if it's for you, it's for you. So the next thing is my mantra, which as you saw in the title of this video, is called A World Full of Shamans. And this is because we recently had a solar flare that happened, or neutrinos that passed through on 12/6, and I personally felt like I felt a shift in energy. But we've also had major transits, shifts in Schumann resonance that have shown that something is happening in the world. Something is shifting and changing, and I mean, hopefully for the better, right? Because it's been really interesting. So with that, we're seeing with Pluto in Aquarius, major change in awareness. We're seeing a shift in collective consciousness and an increase in collective consciousness, because with more people sharing their lives on the World Wide Web, we now have an influx of Akashic information entering the material plane. I wanted to make sure I said that right, but yes. So the Schumann resonance, oh, actually, see, I be saying things, forgetting what I wrote, honestly, because I write these at the time of the transit, right? And I literally wrote, Schumann resonance went black, a lot of us got sick, and the spike in resonance happened right there. So you guys can see, even though it might be backwards. So now let's talk about Human Design Gate 61, the gate of inner truth and mystery. Because again, when we are talking about information coming to consciousness and we're talking about divine downloads, this is really all about walking in your truth. And walking in your truth is about being sincere. So gate 61 is also known as the gate of sincerity in Chetan Parkin's Book of Lines, but it's called the gate of inner truth and mystery. In the Chinese I Ching, it's called inner truth. I think it's called Fu. I'm so used to my photographic memory because, as you guys know, or you might not know, I read from the Kuan Yin Book of Changes, or I read little excerpts giving you guys the line of the day's astrological transit. And even though it doesn't quite fall the same way as like a 24-hour day, but I give you guys the information so you know what's happening in the sky in relation to the Chinese I Ching, which is the wheel of life. So in the sky in relation to life. So let's jump back in here. So now, as we're talking about gate 61, I'm going to read for you guys what I wrote at the time of the transit for this gate. So it says, listening to self is the key to awakening. Every single person has a unique journey on this plane, and this is why human design is called the science of differentiation. It's also often called the science of individuation. In our differences, we learn the way of divine feminine energy, which is inner truth or esoteric knowledge. In our differences, we learn the way of divine feminine energy, mystery, the unknown. Our presence on earth is a journey of blossoming into a more evolved and conscious person than once before. This month, reflect on ways you can be more self-focused and create more moments of introspection. As the 61st gene key is related to the pineal gland, your third eye, right, y'all? What's with this fly? Gently guiding it away. At first it wasn't so gentle. I was like, and then I was like, let me chill. Ahimsa, ahimsa. All right, so this month, reflect on ways you can be more self-focused and create more moments of introspection. As the 61st gene key is related to the pineal gland, this is a period of inner awakening and seeing the divinity of your personal truths. So as we have the internet and we are able to see people live in ways that we never were able to see before, we can now, oh, 17, my angel number. We are able to now use our inner eye, like not our inner eye, but our inner truth as we dive into the mystery of life. As there's more happening, there's almost more mystery that's created between the energy of two people, which kind of creates like a black hole or womb, which also has the same energy of the mysteries of the third eye. So, one second. So, yes, back to what I was saying. It's really, really important to take time of introspection, because as we have all this information and we're able to see what people are doing and learn new things and how we can go about life, you see people experiencing life in new ways. They have unique lifestyles. You're like, I could do that. I could live like that. But with that, there has to be an awareness to your inner truth. So I'm actually going to bring up a topic that is a little taboo, but because I want to show how this is important of knowing your inner truth. So, for example, polyamory is something that is becoming new in the sense of it's not new. It's definitely has been present in the world, but in terms of trending and culture, we see more and more people are individuating and choosing different lifestyles. So it's really important to follow your inner truth, because if that is not something that maybe is within your design, but is something that is you see within your environment or who you're around, you may think that you are into a lifestyle that you might genuinely not have an issue with, but you not might not be into. So when we are able to focus on our inner truth, have moments of introspection, know that we can see and embrace and accept the lives of others and their lifestyles, but also come into attunement with, okay, what do I want to embody? Who am I? What's my value system? And how can I create an identity around that? So this goes back to gate 62, which is the programming partner that transited with gate 61. And this gate is called the preponderance of the small, or the preponderance of details, because this is about those details that help us see our inner truth. And as I said, like, being able to sit with yourself, you're able to preponder on these details. And gate 61 is often described as the pressure to know why. And then the details are the questions you're asking along with that why. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how they go together. Like, I Let me think. I'm trying to think of a question to give you guys. Like, I can't think of a question because I really don't have any whys right now. And I think because I just went through a deep pressure period of having to go through my whys. But if you think of a question and then you ask why after that, that's kind of the energy of this channel that's happening between gate 61 and gate 62. So, oh, picked up the wrong thing, not the Kuan Yin. So now I'm going to read what I wrote for gate 62, the preponderance of details. This month, the death of rumination is coming to you to free your mind from overactivity. The preponderance of details is very necessary for understanding how you want your soul to travel on this plane. Details can help us refine our hearts, desire, and even see the truth in the information presented to us. Allowing minor changes to guide us instead of overwhelming us will be a major theme this month. What small changes can lead to big transformation? How can small moments of reflection lead you to greater insights? This new moon is calling in deep reflection and transmutation. So again, just like details can be amazing for helping us come to a greater way of identifying ourselves, details can also keep us stuck. So it's really, really important to come to a ability of finding impeccability, which is the city of this gate, of gate 62, being able to kind of find a balance of being detailed but not being wordy, being detailed but not doing too much. I actually have my north node and south node in gate 62 and gate 61, gate 61 being a Capricorn gate and gate 62 being a Cancer gate. So my south node is in gate 62, which I can be very, very, very detailed. But my north node is in the gate of mystery. It's kind of like telling me, hey girl, you can be very detailed and you can actually use that to be very mystical. And I feel like me creating this channel, my desire to kind of be a seeker of information, but then when I get it, to simplify it or be able to create a foundation of understanding for others, I feel like is very much rooted in this dynamic of details, but wanting to move into the higher frequencies of impeccability. And for gate 61, of being in a state of, I wanted to say truth, but truth is the city of gate 63. I'm going to check for you guys. So, grabbed my Gene Key book real quick. As you can see, mine is very beat up because I use it very, very often. And my daughter also draws on it, which, you know. But at gate 61, inspiration is the gift of inspiration is the gift of the Gene Key. And then we also have sanctity being the highest frequency of the Gene Key. So as I desire to move from being inspired, but also being in a state of sanctity and also being in a state of impeccability, I allow myself to just be, because I think that, again, part of it is understanding that we already are our designs. Without anyone telling you what human design is, you're operating within your design. But the beauty of it is the more awareness we come to with this information and knowledge, the more we can transmute energy, we can change our genes, and in turn change and self-actualize into the person we truly desire to become, which is the highest frequency of our genes. So now let's talk about the energy reading. I kind of talked about the human design gates before the energy reading, but part of understanding who you truly are is knowing that there is a reason for everything, and actually that you can answer even the why. The gate 61, again, I talked about, is the pressure to know why. You may not always be able to answer it, and this is because sanctity is understanding that there is something greater, right? There is something greater. That's it. So here it says, And greater for you may not look like what it looks like for other people. But even when you look at nature, when you look at time, this is all an understanding that outside of our pressure to know why, there are other elements that impact that. So the energy reading for the new moon in Capricorn says, the new moon in Capricorn is the first new moon of the new year, and it is a great start to an abundant and action-oriented 8 year. 8 is about resources, it's about abundance, it's about continuity, completion, harvest, creation. Well, completion in the sense of a harvest season, but not completion in the sense of ending of a cycle. That would usually be 10, sometimes depicted by 9, often depicted by 10 because it comes in the binary of 1 and 0. So the numerology of 8, as well as the presence of Jupiter, calls for mass expansion and loss, karma, retribution, and blessing. With Capricorn being a planet ruled by Saturn, our focus and time are major themes this month. As more and more humans are realizing the ability to create their own reality and see their impossible dreams come true, we are seeing a sudden change in systems on all levels. The world is becoming more right by becoming left, more accepting and passive, and moving away from elitist and power focused structuring. And we see that happening. We see it with the creator economy. People are able to change their lives very quickly, very radically, make more money than they've ever seen, and also be able to use that abundance to help others. We have not seen that happen in a way we've seen it before. I mean, just one creator alone, Mr. Beast, I feel like he's a great example of that. And I actually am going to stop and talk about Mr. Beast for a second because I really want people who are YouTubers and creators to look at his case study and see how when you are in a spirit of wanting to just do better and help others, and you can still have a passion and a personal drive, how much one person can impact so many people as well as shift the morphogenetic field around him. I am sure that when Mr. Beast and a few of his friends started encouraging each other on YouTube, that shift, whether it was maybe it wasn't even he was the creator who was like the most active one in the group, right? But it could have been that shift of coming together in one field, helping them push through the imposter syndrome, the feeling of not being enough, the feeling of this is overwhelming or I can't do it, because they each had through each other an example of people creating the things they wanted to see, also doing it for the goodwill of others. And when you have one person doing that in an environment, it is scientifically proven that it shifts the whole field. So, yeah, pretty amazing. And I know that now the information I'm talking about is still very is not very new to people, because as awareness is changing so rapidly, people are able to see this happening in real time. So here are some themes that also occurred during this new moon in Capricorn. We have worth, peace, temperance, which is about balance, attraction. But action, if we talk about time and energy, we talk about action. So attraction, potentiality, upgrade, renewal, fierceness, interdependence, and fortune. So these are all themes for the new moon in Capricorn. So think back to January 13th, 2024. Did you notice a shift in income? Did you notice new job? Did you notice actually a change of structure, maybe loss, because Jupiter is also the planet of loss as it is the planet of abundance and expansion. So yeah, these are all things to consider. Like, what were you experiencing, and some themes that come up. I'd love if you commented. So next is, how can I learn from others in my life? These are going to be my writing prompts. How can I learn from others in my life? I know that I have been learning a lot from the people in my life, especially my partner. I am very, very big on detailed, but he is very big. He has gate 9 in his chart, which is about concentration. So details are great, but if you don't have the concentration to really sit with the details, you can still lack with coming to a sense of your own, decision making or truth. But when you have a moment of concentration or that ability to focus energy for a period of time, then you're able to see transformation. And I feel like just having him in my morphogenetic field definitely helps with that. What work values help me succeed? So what work values help you succeed? For me, the work value that helps me succeed is diligence. I have my conscious earth in gate one, third line. So gate 1 and the third line is basically work and detriment. So the value for that line to have is diligent, because the third line is very transformative, because it's about bonds being made and broken. So having creativity in the third line does require a lot of trial and error and just doing my soul's work. And yeah, focusing on diligence, perseverance, grit have been really, really helpful. Next is, does my lifestyle reflect my values? Yes, my lifestyle definitely reflects my values. Ask yourself these questions. Also, gate 50 is the gate of values, so I really highly recommend you checking out gate 50 in human design. But do your values reflect around your life? And even so, how can you create more of a union between your values and the world around you? Let's see. Okay, and then Jack already texted me. You guys heard my phone go off. He texted me that he's coming upstairs with Indy. So I'm going to be pretty quick, but I'm going to do a quick card pull to just wrap this up. Ooh. And just see what card I pull to leave a closing message for the new moon in Capricorn. And also the astrological new year. Is she sleeping? Okay. She's sleeping. Okay. So I can stay online a little longer. Dang, ain't no cards falling out. Okay, I had to get kamikaze on them. So these are the cards that fell out. We have Hemlock, the Emperor card. And we have Valerian, 8 of Water. So this is great because we have fire and water elements. So with that, because the Emperor is often depicted with fire or just red. So with that, I'm going to read what the card says, but I also think that it's really cool because with fire and water, they're kind of like opposing elements, but kind of so is work and play and time and energy and being able to balance these things. So let's read what it says for the 8 of Water card, Valerian, because that's what I pulled first. Okay, so the 8 cards in this Herb Crafters astrology deck, which I'll link below for you guys, is the 8s cover roots, tenacity, and empowerment. So 8 of Water, Valerian, seek the depths of rest. Sleep is the best meditation, says the Dalai Lama. Relax, recover, and recuperate. So the depiction on the card is an oceanside room glows with soft light. A bouquet lies on a nightstand where a warm pot of valerian root tea, delicate star-shaped flowers fall to the ground. Steam rises to meet moonbeams on the water. The full moon shines through a small window, illuminating the mountains beyond. So intuitively, I'm already getting this card is calling us to tune into the moon cycles even more. I feel like I'm grateful that I'm able to take my notes and journal and record these videos, but I know that I can be better about getting you know, more timely with the moon cycles. So if you know that you already follow the moon cycles, but you can, you know, lean more into your intuition and also maybe capture more elements through rest, because you're working with the cycle, and cycle syncing, then that would be beneficial. So here are some ways you can work with the element of valerian root. Drink valerian root tea for deep rest and sleep. Carry it in a magical vial to settle your anxiety. Create time for a personal retreat. Even a staycation can be rejuvenating. And then it also says you can use it as a time to pull back from it all. Be still and recuperate. Valerian is a valuable tea for those who struggle to rest and relax. If a lack of control over the situation has led to constant anxiety, invite sleep and consult the dream time. Valerian is a pungent medicine. Slowing down may not be a pleasant experience at all at first, but it is the only way to become strong again. And what's really interesting is I was on a tea break and was working with valerian root, and at the time I had to pull back from it all and literally slow down. And during that time, I also opened my apothecary and shifted course in just how I was showing up in the world and started working more with the water element. And yeah, I think it's really, really interesting that that connected right there. So if you worked with valerian root, I would love if you shared below. And also, this is just another reminder: when we are balancing time and energy, work and play, rest is important. So now let's see what it says for the Emperor card, the hemlock. So let's go to the major arcana here, number 4. It says, build strong boundaries. A sturdy structure supports abundant growth. Own your authority. And I was literally going to say, when I took that step back, I actually moved into like all the things I was meant to do, ironically. And it shifted me from a course that I actually didn't realize I didn't want to be on at all. And it was a great ego death, because not long after that, I became pregnant, had my daughter, and then had to learn how to do this cycle of like resting, pulling it all back, and then moving with the element of the emperor, like the fire element. So let's see. It says, a square mandala lies on a wooden table. An 8-pointed star made of hemlock cones forms the centerpiece. 4 small houses crafted of branches grow out of the star. Sprigs of hemlock separated by yellow rose petals adorn the top and bottom. Hemlock cones and tips form an expansive rectangular framework around the piece. A strong foundation and a safe environment build a solid future. Hemlock is ideal for framing houses because it is a soft wood that toughens with age. Trust your boundaries. And we literally talked about that the whole beginning of this video, right? They may feel pliable at first, but they will strengthen over time. By creating the conditions for other plants to thrive, hemlock is an important part of a healthy ecosystem. Build a reliable scaffolding on which your sacred work can grow. Step into leadership with confidence. So ways that you can work with hemlock and the energy of the emperor is frame an altar with it. So you can put it around the objects on your altar to protect them. You can drink vitamin-rich hemlock tea, which supports the body during intense creative or spiritual work. You can embody the power of the hemlock and stand tall with your crown reaching to the sun and your roots firmly to the earth. So you can actually work with it too. It also says, important note, we refer to the evergreen conifer tree, Tsuga heterophylla, not the dangerous herbaceous flowering plant poison hemlock. Okay, so yes, that's actually very important. Know which hemlock you're working with. You want to work with the evergreen conifer tree hemlock and not the flowering plant, which is poisonous. So with that, I hope you guys really enjoyed this transmission, and it would be a pleasure to see you guys in my next video. Indy is now asleep, so I might still decide to do another live and record the other videos, or I might rest. We'll see, because it's all about balancing work and play. But I do think it was divine time that I needed to finish this, and she came in sleeping. That's how God be working. The universe is giving favor. All right. Love you guys. Peace.